I had a lot of fun playing through Minecraft Dungeons. However, after completing the game, I realized that it left me with a hollow feeling. That most of the appeal of this game came from the Minecraft atmosphere, lore, and blocky atmosphere rather than the actual gameplay. With the need to constantly kill and loot losing its appeal quickly after restarting the adventure on a harder difficulty. Minecraft Dungeons is a short and entertaining adventure, but it never rises to anything above than what you would expect from a basic dungeon crawler. The narrative is very simple. An illager was exiled from his people, and when attempting to find a new home with the villagers is rejected. After traveling, he discovers a powerful artifact and uses it to rule over the illagers and enslave the villagers. The narrative doesn't go beyond this, and your entire adventure is you trying to stop the arch-illager. This is a game directed at kids, so it's expected that the narrative would be simple. The protagonist is a custom hero who decides to stop the arch-illager because no one can. You choose from a variety of skins, some of which is locked behind paid DLC for some reason. I really don't understand why. And you venture to several biomes to stop the arch-illager and save the villagers. Like I said, it's a bare bones narrative that doesn't offer much. What's even more bizarre, or intentional, is that the story is locked behind a paid DLC wall. After completing the game, you'll be teased with upcoming DLC that has to be purchased at a later date. I'm okay with this if the core game story feels complete and the DLC serves as a standalone adventure. However, it's not, and clearly the intentional cliffhanger is to get players to invest more money into this title, especially if you downloaded it through Xbox Game Pass. There's no building or crafting in Minecraft Dungeons, which kind of removes the soul of this franchise. Even Minecraft Story Mode had a building and crafting system while simple. Here the entire game is a hack and slash dungeon crawler. You'll start a stage, get a short summary of the location and your goals, and start killing mobs, illagers, and saving villagers. Most of the enemy variety comes from the Minecraft universe, with a handful of unique enemies to the game, mostly boss encounters. Some enemies have unique defenses such as shields and attacks that are required to break down these specific defensive tactics. As you progress, crowd control becomes essential as enemies can overwhelm the player and chip away at your health. You can take on the adventure alone, or up to 3 friends can join you. I noticed that the game becomes much easier with allied players, but playing with allies definitely alleviates a lot of the tedium that comes with this adventure, and trust me, tedium starts to become a major issue when you reach the New Game Plus missions. Your custom character can be upgraded with a variety of weapons, armor, and artifacts earned by defeating monsters, completing stages, and through randomized loot crates that you can purchase from 1 or 2 vendors. You cannot purchase these crates using real-world money, thankfully, but these crates usually provide worthless items. Since the game's current currency, which is emeralds, is earned very quickly and can be used only on these crates, the game's economy quickly crumbles. You can equip 1 melee weapon, 1 armor set, 1 ranged weapon, and 3 artifacts. Each item is linked to a face button, and artifacts serve as your special abilities that have charges or other requirements such as a soul charged explosive device that increases strength the more souls you absorb. To further increase the power of your gear, you can upgrade your weapons and armor using enchantments earned by leveling up, with more powerful weapons having 2 or 3 tiers of upgrades. If you get something more powerful, you can salvage the items for emeralds and the total of the last tier of enchantments you spent on that item. Artifacts cannot be upgraded, and the potency is determined by the level of the overall item, which cannot be leveled up. You have to earn more powerful artifacts. There is a lot of variety here in terms of weapons and armor, each having their own strengths and weaknesses, allowing you to build classes based on the equipment you have. There's no way to save builds, but you can copy and paste heroes if you want to save them that way. This may annoy some players hoping for a traditional class system, but I kinda enjoyed it trying to break out of my comfort zone and try different weapons and armor combinations. Most of your time will be spent in the various dungeons. You'll be traveling through a forest, swamps, snow mountains, deserts, and more, all modeled after the core Minecraft game. You'll kill enemies and complete basic tasks such as interacting with key objectives that will take up most of your adventure. Each level is randomly generated, with certain areas always remaining the same. Some levels will end with a grand boss fight, but most of them will have you fighting waves of enemies in a variety of rooms. Thankfully, navigation is pretty easy. The map is terrific, and there's a waypoint that constantly points you in the right direction. You're rewarded for exploring with treasure chests, and sometimes you'll find hidden levels. However, most of these just lead to more emeralds, which I've already stated are basically worthless once you reach level 20, since the vendors will mostly just give you a random piece of common loot and not really worth a damn. Speaking of levels, grinding is very annoying. The game is short and leveling begins to slow down after level 25. Each stage has level requirements and sub-difficulty options if you're looking for better rewards. However, after completing the game, the advised level goes to 35 to 39 for adventure, which will take a while to get to. You can play the game without meeting these requirements, and it's possible to complete stages if you have a good amount of upgrades, but the grind is just way too slow. This brings to Minecraft's dungeon's biggest flaw: lack of originality or excitement. Much of the game takes reference from titles like Diablo and Torchlight 2, but unlike those games that had some other hook like story or unique gameplay aspect, Minecraft Dungeons does not. The appeal of Minecraft's blocky look is great for fans of the series, but if you have no interest in the series, then the main appeal is gone. The bare bones combat, simple story, and heavy grinding goals quickly becomes apparent when you start to replay the game on harder options. When you hit that barrier, even the appeal of the game's atmosphere and visuals will quickly fade. The game does try to keep players enticed with optional missions such as collecting runes, but these are so annoyingly hidden due to the game's random levels that it becomes a chore to locate them, especially if you miss the key item and have to replay the entire level again. It's clear the developers wanted to rely on the core game's popularity to drive excitement for this title. However, that same reliance is quickly drained once you realize there is no more meat to that bone. The game functions just like any other dungeon crawler, but there are plenty of games that already do more with this system and develop their own identity. Minecraft Dungeons feels more like a mini-game within Minecraft, which is kind of insulting. As someone who recently started getting back into Minecraft, heck, I did an entire livestream attempting to re-kill the Ender Dragon this year to questionable results. I think my game just froze. The game just froze. Guys. This game seems way too simple to have the Minecraft name. Yeah, it's a game generally considered for children, but those who've played the title know that that's far from the case. It's a deeply complicated title with many layers, from its creative aspects to survival systems to even teaching tools. Comparing Minecraft Dungeons to Minecraft is almost insulting considering how simple Dungeons is and how complicated Minecraft is. That being said, the game isn't without challenge. Yes, the first time you play through the game, it'll be quite easy, but once you start playing on adventure and then apocalyptic, you'll see that the game actually becomes incredibly challenging. Especially when you go against the enchanted enemies, which have a variety of increased buffs, especially enchanted cows, which heal all opposing enemies, which is pretty cool they included enchanted cows. If you do happen to die, the game's checkpoint system is very forgiving. You'll start immediately where you left off at the last checkpoint, even if the boss's health is halfway done, so the bosses will not reset if you die. You do get 3 tries, and after that, everything ends and you have to restart the level, and the only thing you really lose is certain key items that unlock secret stages. So overall, you do get to keep everything that you've earned and you just have to retry again. One thing that I did love thoroughly is the soundtrack and sound design. Characters all had that traditional Minecraft sound effects, but the musical score was surprisingly good. I expected just remixes of the Minecraft soundtrack, but here the developers decided to make a pretty good effort on the soundtrack. It's nothing stellar, but it's enough that I remembered it more than the actual gameplay. As I stated, the visuals are extremely appealing. They're bright, colorful, and carry that Minecraft charm. In fact, I love the 2 cutscenes in the game because they were so well animated, almost like watching a cartoon. But eventually, the visual appeal does fade, and the biggest draw of Minecraft Dungeons fades with it. Minecraft Dungeons isn't a bad game, I want to make that clear. It's simple, and it doesn't attempt to be more than your basic dungeon crawler. It relies heavily on its Minecraft structure to create appeal, but once it loses that luster, the game's tedium starts to show itself as you slowly grind your way through dozens of enemies to face the same challenges for slightly better rewards. It's a great distraction if you have Xbox Game Pass, just download it and play it for a few hours. But as a full-on purchase, I can't really recommend it, especially seeing that most of the game has been locked behind paid DLC. So it's an okay game, just don't expect much out of it. So tell me what you thought about Minecraft Dungeons. Do you plan to play it? Do you have no interest in it? Did you love it? Do you hate my opinion? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Stay awesome, everyone.